There's a FujiNet, and there it goes. Wow. Okay, that was super easy. And okay, got a new setup here. We're going to do some stuff for the Mac today because Jeff Meyer has just released some updates for the FujiNet Mac to mount disk images, and I want to test it out. So I got my Mac here, set this up, and we're going to go through the whole thing of building so you can see it all. Most of what's going to happen today is here in my terminal. I'm going to do a new checkout inside of code because that's where I like to go. And you go to the web and go to FujiNet firmware. And we're going to do a quick checkout. I don't think we're going to make any changes, so HTTPS is fine. Copying that in the clipboard. I'll come back in here and we'll just do get clone. Pull all this down fresh. Get in here, get status. Nope. Okay. I don't have any good get log commands in here, so there we go. Just from this morning, Jeff. Initial disk copy image support. So let's try it and see what we get. So there's the build sh command, which will give you a whole bunch of predefined definitions, and we've got to do a setup to create the temporary firmware. Let's see. Set up a new board from name, writes a new file platform. Okay, so -s name. Okay, so build -s, and the name we want for this one is Platform.io Fuji Mac. Is it just that one's platform? All right. Does it want just Fuji Mac? Yes. All right. That's what it is. Just want you to build. There it goes. Okay. Now we got to build kicked off. It's got to install some PIO stuff because I actually haven't built the firmware on this PC before. I've just built the FujiNet PC, so this is the first time it's gone and tried to do firmware. 1, 2, 3. Okay, hey, this is later in time, Andy, editing Andy. Just coming in here to talk about some of the things that are going on to make it more clear. This system that I'm doing this on was a Windows laptop, a Surface Book 2nd generation. It's it's getting up in age. It's about 5 years old, but it's not that old. Anyways, the Windows subsystem for Linux 2 was just very, very slow on this. I don't know why. So as you see here, when I'm building this, it just comes and takes an incredibly long time for it to do these ESP32 firmware builds. And then as you're going to see in a moment, when I attempt to flash the firmware up, it pretty much goes through the whole CMake dependency process again, which for whatever reason takes like multiple minutes, like 5 minutes on this laptop. I don't know why it's so slow. Doing this on a real Linux laptop on essentially the same hardware is many times faster. But I did want to use this Windows laptop because I wanted to run Altera. I wanted to do this Mac build from scratch, and I had the Windows laptop. So I basically did it all here from scratch to give you a sense of what goes on with this build process. So, okay. Oh, back. Yeah. I took a bit of time. Not excusing it, but it is what it is. Okay. So it's successfully built. Let's flash this up to my Fuji, and to do that we use upload firmware. The web UI hasn't changed. Then we want to run on a monitor, so should bring it up. So build sh, upload, and monitor when you're done. And still got a couple more tools, but those look like they're small. Okay, all that, and the dev USB is wrong. Crap. Okay, I need to find it for Windows. Let me find out how you find it in Windows. Okay, this is Editing Andy back again. What follows is a descent into a little bit of madness, but it does resolve, as I noted. Basically, I didn't take into account that the USB connection from my Surface laptop into the FujiNet wasn't just automatically going to work while I was in WSL2. Again, remember, this is the WSL2 that's actually building the firmware, and when it goes to flash it, it expects to find a USB device that it can connect to and see the ESP32 on the FujiNet, and then go ahead and write the firmware up and, flash the device. It's the first time that I've ever tried to do a build on Windows. I typically avoid it and work in Mac OS X on Linux, but I wanted to figure this out. So there's going to be a whole bunch sped up, and I almost give up and just decide to just do this on Linux. But at the end, there was a nice website that went through the steps, and it was fairly clear of what you had to do. The key was having this little utility Winget, I guess, that was already on Windows that allowed me to install a couple of the necessary components on the Windows side, and then with a little bit of fiddling on the WSL Ubuntu side, it was able to connect and see it, as you'll see. So it all turned out well, and I learned something, and so that's why I'm leaving this part in and annotating it, because it was an interesting little foray. If you are using a Windows system, it's still easier to build the FujiNet components in WSL because it works just like a Linux machine. You're going to need to know exactly how to do this if you haven't already done it in order to flash your device. There are some people who build in Windows itself, not in the WSL subsystem, and there are issues with those, but if you're expert enough, there are people that have done it. I'm not willing to go into that. You know what? About this time, I'm going to go get a Linux machine and connect it because this is too crazy. I don't have Winget installed, I'm sure. Winget. Oh, I do. Alright, you know what? I'll try this. We'll try it. What could go wrong? Don't need WSL. Alright, there we go. Now we're getting somewhere. I do not even know if this is recording. It is not recording. Sorry, you guys have missed this lovely little thing going on here. Let me add it. Because why not? I've managed to install this USB ID bridge for Windows, list the devices, and there it is right there. I can see it, Silicon Labs. That is the FujiNet. It is not shared. So to share it, I need the bind must be sharing device attached to the Windows. Okay. Share the bus ID of the device you would like to share in Windows. Okay, so USB ID bind. USB IP bind. And then bus ID. And 7-1. Okay. Oh, IPD USB IPD bind bus ID 71. Okay, it's bound. And now I attach it. Okay. I will attach it. USB IPD attach to WSL bus ID 71. Okay. Let's go back to this window. You guys are here. And so LS USB. Wow, there it is. Okay. Let's see if this window.
It's the right one. I'm gonna put this behind this other one here. Window capture, where are you? Come over this. Oh dear lord. Why? You know what? I'll turn this off. Yeah. Okay, we're done with binding it. We're back in here. It's listed, there's a TTY, so do this dev TTY. Yep, there it is. Dev TTY USB 0. Okay, this is gonna suck, but we gotta do this command again. Go back here, all the way. Oh, no. Back in here.
DevTT USB should be here. We will flash it again. It's going to take just as long, so I'll jump cut again.
The SIO bus on Atari systems is older because it came out when the Atari 100 and 400 did, but it's also far faster. I can't quote speeds because I don't know them.
Okay, here we go. That all worked, and it's flashing right over onto the Fuji Mac. So, yeah, today I learned what to do. Oh, and I see the Fuji Mac has rebooted, and it's starting the web server. Okay, now I see the IP address right there, 251, so now we can go find it. Yep, I just need to see where this is plugged in. Yep, all right, 251, 252. So, if we jump over to the browser, I'm going to hide this window here. We don't need to see this anymore. Let's go back to the browser and get rid of those, and then we'll do HTTP 192.168.251.252 8000. All right, it already was there. Dismiss and come on, baby. 251, 252. Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry, 8000 is the port internally for the FujiNet PC. This is a real FujiNet, so it's just on port 80. So here we go. here is my Mac Fujinet, and I called it Atari Apple Rev Zero. I need to rename this. I swapped the SD cards around. This is Fuji Mac Rev Zero. I will save that. So it's written to the SD card. And what we can do now is need to mount the disk image that I want to boot on the Mac. There's currently no other way to mount it except going through the web interface, so that makes it kind of handy. So I will go to my host, my TNFS server, and I put 2 DSK images, one that I found on the web that has a very early game of the Alice game, and then another one I just found. So let's see if either of these work. Apple 68K, and you can see Alice early, and then Billiard Parlor. I'm going to try this, and I'm going to mount it. Read only. Get rid of the total recall. Okay, yeah, this was an SD card that I just swapped from a Apple Fujinet. So here we go. We see the Billiard on there. Parkour disk, and let's go take a look at this Mac and see what's going on. Let me reach over. Okay. Come on, Mac. There's no sound on this Mac. And it is not. Let me start with something that I know works, just so we can validate where we're going with this. Also, we can go back and look. That didn't do anything. No output on that. Which is weird. Oh, there it goes. Okay. Okay, so we know the firmware is sort of working. We got the DCD booted, and it's up very nicely. Okay, this is Editing Andy. Hopefully this is the last time I'm cutting in. This is at the point where I've got the firmware flashed. I know it boots a DCD. I still have not been able to boot a DSK image. My issue so far has been that I went out and grabbed some random DSK images, and for the most part they actually are not bootable. I was able to later, with a bootable image, mount them in the secondary disk drive, no problem. So I'm going to fast forward through this last section where I'm bouncing around, basically just going through the mounted DCD image and playing with it, which is not that interesting. And then when this is over, you're going to be at the final section where I boot the DSK and we are all done. So this is a great advancement from Jeff. It's really nice because, again, when I'm mounting and booting a DSK image as opposed to a MOOF image, it's acting like the Fujinet does on other platforms. That is, the mount is instant and the Mac is simply asking for blocks over the network to the TNFS server. So it operates pretty much right away as fast as my network is. When the MOOFs are there, the MOOF has to be downloaded completely from the server into the SD card. It requires an SD card, and from there it boots from the SD card. So that's, in my opinion, kind of cheating. So having DSK images makes the Mac work very much like the other platforms from the Fujinet. And the next thing to do is figure out how to send commands down through the floppy port to control the Fujinet, and then we won't have to jump out to the web browser to mount images. We'll have a little native Macintosh app that will let us configure the Fujinet, mount images from hosts, and the Mac will pretty much be done at that point. But I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope it's taught you a couple things if you are using a Windows system. Enjoy the final boot. Okay, well, I think I've got a DSK that should work. So let's check this out. I'm going to go get this preset up here on my MacWrite 4.5. I'm going to do it read write. And that's done. I'm going to go back over and boot up the Mac, see what it does. There's a FujiNet, and there it goes. Wow. Okay, that was super easy. And it booted it up. Let's take a look at that because I missed what happened there. And let's see. There it is. Okay. MacWrite 4.5. It found it. It mounted it. Yeah. Mounting type DSK for DNC config. Okay. It mounted it, and there it did. Okay, that's still saying DCD, but I guess he's still having it. But you can tell it didn't copy it over like it does a DCD. It definitely mounted it over TNFS, and if you can see here, we'll make this bigger. Oh, now this thing has a rock solid image on the Mac. I do not know why. This is a MacWrite DSK image. Downloaded, I think, from one of the Macintosh repositories. And we'll click on this. We'll take a look at this so we can see. It's reading it in there. Yeah. There we go. All right, so it's definitely working. Valid bootable DSK disks. I think the one I had previously did not have a system image on it, which makes sense. So it wasn't bootable, and I need to probably, if I put it in as a second disk, it might even appear. Let's see. If I go back into the web browser, I think I can pop these on. Let's take a quick look together and do this. I'll mount the second disk slot. Atari 68K. You know what? I'm going to do the Alice early. And I'll do it in slot 2. And let's see if that pops up. Quit MacWrite. With it rebooting. So there it is, rebooting that same MacWrite DSK. Boots it right up. Nope. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I had to reboot. There's the Alice disk. Cool, which I've never seen. Oh, you know what? That is a system disk. It's got a system folder on it, but I'll take this. I'm going to launch it. And I have never played this. So, okay. All right, well, let's restart. I'm going to swap these out real quick. If we go back and I eject this. All right. And I go back and I'll put the second one I had on there. Let's see what happens with that. I'm probably going to have to reboot. The billiard parlor. Put that in disk 2. Okay, that's successful. hop back over, and that didn't like that. Okay. I don't think it likes me swapping the discs underneath of it. But it boots this Mac Write disk up very nicely. This is a 512KE. And yeah, there's Billiard Parlor. So let me see if that's going to work. Looks like it's doing something. Yeah, alright, there we go. Hey, that's cool. So I'm going to have to get a system set up that has direct video out so I can get a better recording of this. But there you go. That is really cool. Mounting DSK images. Just need to find a nice bootable boot disk to boot the Mac, and the rest works. I'm going to end this here. Okay. Yeah, this game is playable. I'm going to check this game out and see what I can do. Have some fun. Okay. I'll see you later.